There are about 262,000 traffic-related deaths from children aged 0 to 19 worldwide. Approximately 33% of these deaths were pedestrian fatalities. I can recall an incident in my junior year of high school where a sophomore named Anna Sherman was involved in a pedestrian accident. It was September 2023, and Anna Sherman was crossing the street in an undesignated crossing area. A speeding truck came down the road and hit her. Neither one of the parties were paying attention while they were crossing the street or driving their vehicle. This resulted in Anna being in a week-long coma. However, she is alive today. Today, I am here to persuade the members of the Arizona School Board, with the help of parents, that there need to be stricter regulations on crosswalk safety. Firstly, I would like to point out that jaywalking, pedestrian injury, and car accidents are all a result of unsafe school cross zones. Firstly, kids think they can get away with anything these days. It is especially common in teenagers. Teenagers think they can rule the world. Jaywalking is especially common in teenagers. Teenagers can be very impatient and don't want to walk all the way to the crossing zone to wait for someone to tell them it is safe to cross the street. They would much rather make the decision on their own. However, this is what happened with Anna Sherman, and we all saw how that turned out. This leads into my next point, pedestrian injury. Jaywalking is a heavy part of pedestrian injury. Pedestrians do not seem to understand what is around them when they are crossing the street or walking on the sidewalk. Especially children. Children don't understand the dangers that come with crossing the road. A way we can fix this is by having someone monitor school crosswalks. I'm not talking about a crossing guard because at Shadow Ridge, crossing guards are very hard to come by. However, Shadow Ridge and a majority of Dysart high schools have a police officer on campus. I remember a time after a car accident at a four-way stop, our police officer on campus came out and monitored the crosswalk. This allowed for students to have a safer way to cross the street, and it made the cars follow traffic laws. Another way we can fix this is by having parents talk about their concerns with their children. Parents have a tendency to fear for their kids. They are protective over them, and they want to make sure they are safe. Parents, I want you to imagine a regular day. Your child is on their way to school. They've done the walk by themselves 1,000 times. You trust them, and you know it's safe for them to walk to school. However, you get a call from the school. There's been an accident. Your child was walking across the street in an undesignated crossing zone. They were unfortunately hit by a car. Now, you don't know if your child is dying, you don't know if they will have life-threatening injuries, you don't know if they'll be disabled, and you don't know if they will be perfectly fine. This is a fear that all parents have. You're scared that your child will be the victim of such injury. This is why we need to teach our children from a young age about the dangers of crossing the street. Along with the help of our schools, we can ensure that children know how to safely cross the street, when to cross the street if there is no one there to tell them when, and how to avoid crossing the street when cars are being impatient on the road. According to an article titled Pedestrian Injury and Human Behavior, Observing Road Rule Violations at High Incident Intersections, human behavior and violations on the road are a part of the large result of pedestrian injuries. Human behaviors can be aggression, road rage, impatience, sleepiness. Those are just examples. And violations can be running a red light, rolling a stop sign, making an illegal left, or making a U-turn into the crosswalk. According to this article, crosswalks become less useful when met with these behaviors and violations. However, I think I believe that this is untrue. Crosswalks are a very safe way to cross the street. Because they are designated areas, cars can see more visibly who is crossing the street. If you were to cross in an undesignated zone, the car is less likely to see the pedestrian and more likely to hit them. I would like for you all to think of a few ways that you can encourage students and children to cross the road safely. For example, schools can enforce a class along with their driving, what's it called? I would like for us to all think of a way that we can enforce students and children to cross the street safely. There are a few ways that I can think of. For example, one way is for schools to talk about road safety while students are learning how to drive. It's very important when learning how to drive that you look for pedestrians on the street. Because most streets and laws and states say that the pedestrian is not at fault for any accident that occurs while the pedestrian is crossing the street. Another way we can do this as parents is by teaching young children how to cross the street safely. For example, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, my mother was teaching me how to cross the street. We would do it in our neighborhood, just one house to the street across. She would lean forward and look side to side, then tap me on the shoulder when it was my turn to go across the street. I picked up on this behavior and I incorporated it into my life. Doing these small things and telling our children how to cross the street safely, especially while they're young and malleable and influenced by everything an adult in their life does, will surely make them grow into a teenager who is more likely to safely cross the street instead of jaywalking. Another way schools can help solve this issue is by designating the officer to the crosswalks. As I stated before, when the officer was there, cars were following the rules or laws, and students were traveling more safely across the street. A final way we can enforce this is by inflicting a small punishment on our children or students if they do not fully grasp the concept of safety while crossing the street. For example, a young child, you may take away their dessert for the night or not let them play a specific game. For teenagers, you may take away their phone for the day. You may not let them hang out with friends. It really just depends on your style as an instructor or a parent. So I want you all to think about ways that you can enforce this, and hopefully my speech influenced you all and we can make a safer environment for students crossing the street. Thank you.